Dave, we're going to start in a familiar place because the last review we had of last year was Spider-Man No Way Home, a Marvel product. And now we're back with Marvel because Hawkeye wrapped up just a few days after our last podcast, the 6 episode miniseries on a not so popular Avenger, something that's addressed in the show. How did you feel? Was this more Falcon and the Winter Soldier for you, or did it reach that like Loki level MCU property for you?
There's not a chance in hell this reached the Loki highs, my guy, or WandaVision. Doesn't have the ambition of WandaVision, doesn't have the enjoyability of Loki to me. Now, I wouldn't peg it as low as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just because Falcon and the Winter Soldier also had a greater ambition that thus led to more missed goals. Hawkeye there's just not a lot going on with Hawkeye. It's really simple, and to some people that's enough. But to me, this just felt like a lot of homework to me. And there's moments I like, there's characters I like, but overall, I didn't find this story that as thin as it was, I didn't find this story that compelling.
Yeah. No. It's with a show like this, I think you could even say, sometimes people come to these sorts of shows just for the straight vibes. This wasn't even really a vibe show. Just as kind of like, we're going to give a little bit of fan service to those 5 Hawkeye heads, Jeremy Renner heads out there.
Matt Fraction readers.
Yeah. Then we're going to introduce Kate Bishop, and we're going to wipe our hands off, maybe throw a little Kingpin in here at the end, and we're good to go. I will say, obviously, getting some Florence Pugh in my life is never a bad thing, and really enjoy her Yelena performance. But a lot of this I found to be pretty uninteresting, and when you have a stacked cast like this, like when you just have Tony Dalton kind of around to like be like throw you off the scent of the bad guy, it's just kind of like the potential was there to do more, and they really just shot straight down the middle, as Hawkeye would do. So why don't you tell me more about like what didn't work for you specifically?
Well, I think if you just analyze how the 6 episodes of Hawkeye work, the storytelling, the story, the plot of Hawkeye is so secondary to what Marvel's true goals were with the series, which was to introduce us to Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, which I expect to be a anchor for Marvel in the years to come, and also set up the Echo spinoff. And did they do the work to make Echo that interesting to justify a spinoff? I would say that's a resounding no. But they didn't care. That's just like, we'll just get it going to keep the content factory rolling, no supply chain issues at the MCU. And, Renner, Academy Award nominated actor, definitely has punched below his weight throughout his tenure in the MCU. That didn't really change in Hawkeye. Oh, he gets a little emotional at the plaque, talking to himself, to Natasha. Big deal. He doesn't even act in anything but one scene with Linda Cardellini. Linda Cardellini clearly was off on her own, banging this out in 2-3 days. Like, it just felt really bullet pointy to me. And the like wow moments, like, oh, there's Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh. Happy belated birthday to her, by the way. But like, she's blowing everyone away as she does often, and doesn't really answer much, right? Like the Black Widow post-credit scene, no acknowledgement of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina, the Dave Fontaine character. So I really don't know. The motivation seemed a little more unclear to me about just trying to avenge her sister, and then that kind of getting resolved a little neatly at the end there with her conversation with Clint, whatever. But I didn't think we had enough compelling story threads here. Vera Farmiga, like Tony Dalton, also equally wasted, just not asked to do much of anything.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. It's it's really funny just to kind of think about the fact that they were basically finding any way that they could to get Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop into this universe, and this is what they came up with. Like, if it had even just been something with her and Florence Pugh, just kind of trying to maybe even find Hawkeye together or something like that, or like simultaneous stories. I feel like it would have been more interesting to focus more on them than Renner in this. And I mean, I good for Renner. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like just ready to be done with all this, and it seems like this is his like farewell. Finally, I don't blame him. He's put in more than enough time, like you said. Um, but it really just feels kind of unnecessary, and that's been what we've felt with a lot of these Marvel TV properties specifically. Just like, what are they ultimately adding to the overall MCU at this point? And besides No Way Home, Shang-Chi was, I think, a success, but uh, fell into the typical Marvel CGI fuckfest by the end. It's like,
Mm.
what really came out of 2021 for Marvel that you look at and you're like, okay, here we go. This is going to be like driving this next stage forward. You have a couple of good characters who are being set up, but the tentpole people are kind of up in the air. Even Tom Holland, will probably be back as Spider-Man, but his deal is up. They're gonna have to drop the
Mm.
bag for him. That's undecided. So what's really there for the MCU moving forward?
Florence Pugh is definitely there.
Yeah, that has to be it, right? It's got to
Yeah.
be her and Kate Bishop. Like,
Yeah. Kate
yes.
Bishop. I mean, more people to come on the shows like She-Hulk. Seems like She-Hulk could be a walk into the sunset for Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. Similar to how this was Clint Barton's farewell and Jeremy Renner. But yeah, I mean, the bandied about stat the past few weeks. This 4 Marvel Disney Plus MCU shows from 2021, the runtime of those has surpassed the runtime of the entire Infinity Saga film slate. I would say the Infinity Saga accomplishes a lot more from a storytelling perspective, from a memorability perspective, from a filmmaking perspective, basically all the perspectives. And that part of that's just a movies to TV thing, but just the ambition is just not consistent with these shows right now. And like I know some people are like, oh, I liked it just because it was, kind of straightforward. There was no CGI fuck fest. At the end, they were fighting with arrows, and that was kind of cool and fun and stuff. That's how Hawkeye is, how so Kate Bishop is. That's great. But I think a big problem with like this again, this is a big adaptation from the famous Matt Fraction comic run, which is the most popular Hawkeye run. But I think a big issue with this plot being portrayed into the show is like the MCU viewer does not have much of a relationship to like the Ronin side of Clint Barton, because the Ronin side of Clint Barton is like 2.5 minutes in Avengers Endgame, right? Not Infinity War, Endgame. Yeah, like it's so quick. It's not there's no weight to it, right? Even the whole Barton family is like really cookie cutter as it is. So I just felt like that kind of doesn't work. And the other part of that comic is the tracksuit people, which I just feel are really unfulfilling villains as well, particularly like Kazi and his relationship with Echo. I just don't think works at all. They set up Kingpin to reintroduce, people from the Daredevil shows, just as we're getting Charlie Cox's cameo No Way Home. But again, like, is anything with Kingpin that satisfying beyond just like, oh, look, there's Kingpin. He'll be back now. Just like, oh, there's Echo. She's getting her own show. Like, nothing is actually developed. It's just shown to us with like a flag planted to say, hey, we'll be back. Yeah, I just not impressed with it. And even like, did you find like this was that great of a holiday vibe? I thought it was a better holiday vibe than New York City vibe. This
Yeah, for
this this
sure.
this was not filmed in New York. They could have done a better job in making it feel more New York, in my opinion. Uh, Apart from like the ending stuff with the tree,
Mhm.
I guess my favorite moment in the whole show is the fight Kate and Yelena have in like that office where
That,
you have like
oh,
that dolly shot just rolling past the cubes as they're just fighting and tumbling over each other. That was really cool and well done. But other than that, I just not I don't have much to take away from this in terms of like this as an entity, as a story. Like, yes, I'm looking forward to seeing more Kate Bishop. I think Haley Steinfeld's great, but like this as a story, I just thought it's just weak.
Yeah, I felt like it was decent holiday vibes. Definitely not that much of a New York City movie. And I think the moments I'll probably remember most are like the silly moments. Florence Pugh and Kate Bishop in the
Yeah,
elevator,
good
or
humor.
Florence Pugh talking about like the Kraft macaroni and cheese and how great that was, like that sort of thing. Also, the LARPing stuff like stood out. It was something that was like memorable and nice. But like, and I guess also the Echo being a disabled superhero, and the older Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, a differently able superhero, I should say, dealing with that loss of that ability as well, and having come to grips with that. Like that sort of thing is like, I think those are solid moments from the show, things that they can point to and say we did that pretty well, or at least they get credit for. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to take away from this other than, you know, okay, Kate Bishop's here. Like, Elena is more involved now, and obviously moving forward is going to be, just thinking about it, like, is Florence Pugh and Tom Holland now the like Downey Chris Evans of this whole thing moving forward? Like, who's like that tent pole person that they're just
Yeah.
like, all right, this is it.
It seems like they want Anthony Mackie to stick around as the new Captain America. So he kind of serves as like an older guard face, the way like Doctor Strange probably will, and Thor if he's around after the fourth
True.
one. So it's kind of a holding pattern. If you think about what movies have happened since Endgame, it's been a lot of new table setting with new people, or a lot of closing the books. Even No Way Home is more of a closing the book and a reset than anything else, right? Obviously, Black Widow's the same. So, I guess we'll see how ambitious from a storytelling perspective Doctor Strange gets come May. But I don't know. Like it seems like we're at a crossroads. Like I kind of feel like Guardians 3 in 2 years is the last Guardians movie.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and
and
then they have a
Black
holiday
Panther's at a
special.
different kind of crossroads, obviously due to tragic circumstances. So
Yeah,
there's inherently a lot going on, and a lot still to get going on. So I don't know. Maybe I think I'm most invested in whatever cosmic direction they go with, like the symbiote and Null and
Mhm.
Kit Harington's Black Knight and shit like that. Just because that could get like freaky and shit. So
Yeah. I have
Blade,
two more
obviously.
questions before we wrap this up. First, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Do you like
Yeah,
him or not?
I like him in the Daredevil show. I've seen 2 of the 3 Daredevil seasons. He's good in that. It's slightly tweak of that original
Mhm.
performance, but I think he's quite capable. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, he's all right. Like he's
yeah.
not my. For some reason, I just look at him and I can't get past the criminal intent. Vincent D'Onofrio, which I just thought was
Uh,
a terrible like actor. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to get past that for me. Second question. This is where we'll wrap up. Four MCU series coming out next year that are confirmed. We have Miss Marvel, She Hulk, Moon Knight, and Secret Invasion.
right.
Which one are you most looking forward to?
Probably Moon Knight.
Oscar
Oscar
Isaac.
Isaac. Moon Knight's kind of like the Marvel Batman, except he's even more like mentally deranged. If they have the balls to really take it in the Moon Knight direction per the source material, I think that's quite compelling. Miss Marvel is another person that is being set up to be a pillar moving forward. Secret Invasion feels like a bunch of wheels spinning. Um, could be cool. I don't know. And She
Yeah,
Hulk, Tatiana Maslany, I do really like her. I think she's a really talented person. So looking forward to see what she does as well. So I'd say yeah, She Hulk and Moon Knight are the 2 that interest me the most.
see, I think Moon Knight is definitely the one I'm most looking forward to. But I think Secret Invasion, just because the cast that's been confirmed, we don't know what their roles are, but we
Right.
obviously have Samuel L. Ben Mendelsohn and Kobe Smulders coming back. But then you have Kingsley Ben-Adir as the
Yeah,
lead villain, Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, Christopher McDonald, a couple of
yeah,
like
that is
big
exciting.
names that you're like, how are they going to tie them in? So
Yeah,
there's some exciting
some
stuff.
scroll fun going on
Yeah.
there. So that'll be cool, hopefully.
I'm still convinced that Doctor Strange was maybe a scroll in No Way Home because the way he was acting just didn't make any sense.